us to keep craving for more learning and insights about communication. And to talk about effective oral communication, we speak with Spontaneity. We have distinguished Toastmaster Melinda A. Sisles. Speak with Spontaneity, Toastmaster Melinda A. Sisles. A round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, our very bubbly Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Ether. It's still a good morning to all our our key academic officials, our training team, led by our division director, Jelay Rojas, my fellow traders, and to you, our boot campers. Are you still there? If you are still there and you're still okay, kindly have any reactions on your chat box. It could be a heart, it could be a thumbs up, or it could be grin, smiling. There's a raised hand. Okay, thank you. As a fellow trainer, I was also enriched. I enjoyed and terribly engaged in the talk of our past area director, May, your fellow, Aryan, an alumna from your AB English program. In fact, she graduated magna cum laude. And as to the year when she graduated, let's just keep it secret, or else Toastmaster May might be angry with me. Now, let me share my screen for the first slide. My topic is speaking with spontaneity, or speak spontaneously. To be spontaneous is to be natural, to be open, or speaking without external constraints, because you don't have a hard time about saying on hard, which not be delayed in saying what to say, what words to use, and all other things that would bother you. That's why you cannot speak spontaneously. So what do we expect to achieve for this particular topic? One is for us to identify verbal fillers. Two, to be familiar with the causes of uttering verbal fillers and how to reduce or eliminate them. And the third is to practice speaking to check on one's use of filler words. And so you might be asking me, and so we will be speaking again, speaking up again, Toastmaster Melinda. Only shortly. Please don't worry. Again, as Toastmaster May said, there is no right or wrong answer. There is no minus, only pluses for you. I would like you to, I'm using a sample from America, because I would not like to make use of the Filipinos, not even from any one of us, because they might find it negative. So let me bring you to a daughter of the late President John F. Kennedy of the United States, named Caroline Kennedy. She ran as a senator at that time, and she was known to be someone who would always go away from interview questions. But finally, for his campaign speech, she was able to sit down. She was interviewed, and the interview was televised. And do you know that according to one observer, in just 5 minutes, she cluttered her talk with us, with 27 and 38 you-knows. So, Aryans, just don't let it reach America. Now, I'm asking you, and you please use the chat box. Do you also know of someone who has the same speech habit? Please say, just write yes or no on the chat box. My problem is I could not read whatever is, let me see, whatever is written on the chat box. So Toastmaster Ether, please help me read them for me.
Sure, TM
I
Melinda.
don't
So here we
see
have
anything here.
a few reactions. We have quite a few, and most of them are yeses. We have yes from Kay, from Carlo, another yes from Eduardo, one from me, one from Dean Villian, another yes from Denica, Maureen, Nick, Jarrell,
Okay.
Daniel. I hope I pronounced their names
Yes.
right.
Thank you,
Most of them are yeses.
Toastmaster
Yeah.
Ether. I believe everyone agrees with me that we all have that tendency, or we all have the same speech habit. Even me, I once had, or I am still guilty of that speech habit. Only that I have learned to control. And I'll tell you our secret later. Now, if I were to ask you, who do you think they are? So just please don't write it there, because you might say, my teacher in science, and yet your teacher is here and he might give you a minus. The next question, what about you? Are you also having the same speech habit? I'm quite interested because none of you here might have, or yes, nobody has that same speech habit. And so I will just stop because my talk would defeat the purpose. So please, again, write on the chat box. And Toastmaster Ether, just please do it for me every now and then.
Hey, great. Thank you, Toastmaster Melinda. And thank you guys for responding. We have again flooding yeses in the chat box. We
Okay.
have
Thank
yes,
you.
yeses,
Yes.
yeses, yeses.
Yes.
A lot of yeses here.
Yes.
No
If we
no so
were,
far.
thank you, Toastmaster Ether. Thank you for being honest, boot campers. I know that you would always agree with me again that yes, you are guilty of this. Now, so here they are. I did not ask you what those words that you are guilty about, but commonly these are the words like like actually, and basically, okay. Okay, we call them overused words. Overused words, because there is nothing wrong with saying actually, there is nothing wrong with saying, basically, okay. What is wrong with these words is that they become overused. Like in my case, you might be counting my own filler words, and you might chat later and say, "Oh, I have counted your 10 as Toastmaster Melinda." They are overused words. They are abused. If you say only with a few, there is nothing wrong with that, because that is normal. Now, we also call them, for some, they call them crutch words, because we use them to fill in. Next, filler words or verbal fillers. So whatever phrase you would like to have for it, like an overused words or filler words or verbal fillers, it's your choice. But for here, I would be using the filler words to refer to these words. Now, what are filler words? I did show you samples of the filler words. These are actually words or phrases a speaker uses during a speech to fill in a silence or a gap. Remember, we said it's a crutch words. it's a crutch word, or they are called crutch words, because whenever we feel like when we have nothing to say, we will fill them in with words. Next, words which are, again, I mentioned that these words are overused. Once in a while, if you mention one, two, three, all throughout your speech or throughout your talk, there is nothing wrong with it. What is wrong is they have been overused. They become a verbal mannerism, just like the mannerisms that we have for our body language. They become meaningless because they don't actually add meaning to whatever we say. They are just there to fill in the silence and the gap. So let's find out, or let's review or refresh ourselves with some filler sounds. Yes, we say they are filler sounds, but they're also filler words because sounds are syllables, and some of them are like also words, but let's classify them as sounds like um, uh, uh, mm, and So those are the sounds that we hear ourselves when sometimes or most often, depending on how often do we use them. Then we have those filler words. Well, well, okay. I think for the word okay, you would always remember of your teachers. Teachers like us are fond of using okay, class, now, okay, okay, and okay. Then I heard of someone even before he or she starts with the first word of whatever he wants to say, he would always have the so. And then every time he starts his sentence, he would always or she always have a so. Like basically, actually, sometimes I'm guilty of this, actually, then literally, seriously, hopefully, probably, possibly, quite, relatively, reasonably, fairly. So let's catch ourselves in a talk, for example, or in our speech. Do we keep on using these words when we don't actually we mean them? So they become filler words. Then we also have filler phrases like, I'd like someone to read them for me. Unmute yourself and read for me, please.
Miss Melinda, can I do it?
Sure. Yes, Rizel, please.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so this would be the filler phrases or the
Yes,
filler
yes.
words.
Thank you, Miss April.
Okay, so for me, can I just do the filler words? Because this is where
Yes.
I'm really I'm guilty of this. Super. So my favorite filler words are like, and then basically I, and then seriously, and then probably yes or probably no, and then mm, fairly. Those are basically there you go. Those are
Thank
basically
you
my favorite
also.
filler words.
Thank you also, Miss April, for being honest. At least you're aware. And just like me, I have been aware of what my filler words are. Thank you, Miss April. Let's give a hand to Miss April. Now, someone please read for us the sample filler phrases that we have on screen. Volunteer, camper. Did, they are not okay. So I could not
Yeah,
just.
Melinda.
Yes, Toastmaster
Someone
Ether.
raised their hand. It's
Okay, yes, Toastmaster Gerald.
yeah.
Kindly read for us.
I've got, I think that, what I'm trying to say is, you see, I mean, what I mean. At the end of the day, believe me, I guess, or I suppose, or something, stuff like that, or kind of.
Thank you, Jerel. I remember of someone very familiar to us who always say, you know. Can you name him?
Manny Pacquiao.
Manny
Manny
Pacquiao means
Pacquiao. Thank you. So that means you are listening to his talk. Okay. Now, again, thank you very much. Let's proceed. According to Susan Ward, a speech language specialist, filler words or using excessive fillers is the most irritating speech habit. I don't know if you agree with that. Yes, I do agree. It's irritating when you hear someone say, when you ask me to demonstrate to you what I should show you on regarding our I think I should you find it irritating because you would hear more of the filler words than the point itself, the message itself of the speaker, right? Then moreover, she said they distract. They disturb your listener often to the point that he doesn't hear anything you say, just like what I demonstrated. And so your message is entirely lost. Why do you think so? Because especially when a listener is irritated, he would not anymore listen because he would say, ay, ano man na nabati, ano, puro malang na, puro na malang na, Dulaban pa ang ya kagang anya sa iya ginahambal. So your message is entirely lost. The filler words can be more than dead space. They can be deadly because they would detract. You would lose your listeners because of the abusive filler words that you might have in your speech or in your conversation. Why do we use filler words? Since all of us are guilty of this, if you observe that we Toastmasters have reduced, or if later you would find out that, we don't have any filler word, we have already overcome them. And as I told you, I will tell you our secret. Now, why do we use filler words? Please chat. Write your answers on the chat box. And again, our Toastmaster of the day will have to read it for us.
Okay, so first we have here from Kay. She says, to avoid awkward silence, which is kind of true. This is actually very relatable. We also have one from Maureen. She says, giving us time to think. Another truthful statement of why we use filler words. Thank you so much for sharing these insights.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Yes, do we still have another?
Yes, we have another one from Miss Joanne of Uno R. I hope I pronounced it correctly. She says, to have a time to grasp for the right words to say.
Wow, you hit them. You gave me the right answers. Yes, why do we use filler words? According to the article in The Atlantic by Jen Dahl, the writer, yes, the first one said, or the second one, Toastmaster Ether said, it gives us time to think. Yes, we think that, while we're still thinking, we think that we can make use of it to fill in with filler words. And then second, I will have the awkward silence. Yes, it was also mentioned a while ago about the awkward. I like the word awkward silence because you find the silence awkward. And the last one, I think it was referring to this Toastmaster Ether, the one from Miss Joan. Yes, words actually, when we think, they seem to be lodging in our brains, and unconsciously, they just come out on our tongues. And we think that those filler words could help accentuate or stress our meaning. What else other authors say about filler words? According to another article from the Harvard Business Review by Noah Zandan, a CEO and co-founder of Quantified Communication. He applied behavioral science to help people become excellent communicators. According to him, a speaker is, why do we use filler words? Because we feel we are nervous. And because of that awkward silence, we find it awkward to be silent while we're still groping for words. And the nervousness adds to that. Now, become distracted. We are disturbed and we are at a loss for what comes next. I think this is the one answered by Miss Joanne. So thank you very much. You gave us the right answers for why do we use filler words. Let me proceed. Let us now listen to ourselves talk and try to figure out which filler words we are overusing. Some of you might not be overusing, but in your mini speech later, or in your answers, you might be mentioning some filler words which we find meaningless. I would be asking, let's do this. I would be asking for only 2 participants. I love the early part of this morning session because the participation, I think, was maximized by Toastmaster May. But in your case, I will just have 2 participants. Now, each participant will have to answer each one question in just 1 to 2 minutes. Sorry, it should be 1 to 2 minutes. I requested, we have with us distinguished Toastmaster Esther. Toastmaster Esther, our past division governor, a very supportive past division governor in here. Toastmaster Esther, could you help us with the timing?
I think Toastmaster Esther left because she's going to be a judge in another contest.
Okay, so I'll do the timing myself. Anyway, there are just 2 participants. Thank you,
I can
division
do the
director.
timer, Toastmaster Mel.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Didi Jelai. Okay, when you answer, you will just have to. We are going to time you because you might go beyond 1 hour, and we will not finish my talk because we have been waiting for you for 1 hour. So let's trim this only to 2 minutes. So that means you can speak in 1 minute at least and 2 minutes for a maximum. But if you think you would just have to end up until 30 seconds, it's okay. No minuses here, remember? So if you have used up 1 minute, a green card or any background color that will be shown by our division director, Jelai, she will show a green card when you will have used up 1 minute, just to give you a signal. Then yellow for 1.5 minutes and red for 2 minutes. So when you see the red card, that means, or if you see the yellow, that means it's a warning. Please conclude and stop, especially when you see the red light or the red color. Do you understand, boot campers? Now, I think there is no right or wrong answer. As I said, our main purpose here is just to observe whether or not you have filler words, what are those, and how many are those within the allotted time. We have already a volunteer for our timer. I would be asking for 2 volunteers from you. If you would not volunteer, I will open the participants and check for those, or your program heads will volunteer for you. And then I will have 2 more volunteers from you to be counters. We call them counters. So what you will have to do, the accounters will just have to listen to the answer and then observe whether there are long pauses. Let's say if you observe there are long pauses for a number of times, you just have to write the number of times. If you observe there are as, there will be as or so and all others. As long as there's nothing wrong as said, if the likely, the so and all other words, if they are part of the speech, they are not filler words. So if they are just overused, then they become filler words. So I'm asking for 4 volunteers. For volunteers, the first volunteer would be the one to answer the first question. Please don't worry, the questions are very easy. They don't have to require you to read the news. They are very personal, but in a way that you would not be revealing who your boyfriend or girlfriend is and when do you plan to get married. Okay, so if you are not volunteering, may I volunteer you?
Postmaster Mel, I'm sorry, I need to interrupt. May I know again the time limits? Is it the
It's
same
just
as with table
1 to 2
topics?
minutes. Yes, the Didi
Alright.
Jalai, it's 1 to
Noted on
2
this.
minutes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Thank you. May I volunteer Kier? Kier Libre. I think you are a relative of my husband. Kier Libre. Kier. My husband is, the middle name of my husband is a Libre. So please don't fail me. Kier,
Good morning, Miss.
good
Miss, pardon
morning.
me.
Okay,
Ano
so
question?
yes, I will give you the question later. So you would be the first volunteer for the question, Kier. Then next, I'll get from, let's have a female. Kyle, were you able to answer earlier? Kyle Pineda?
Hello, Miss. Good morning.
Ay,
Wala,
salamat.
Miss.
Thank you, Kyle. You will be answering the second question. Then I would have volunteer for accounters. May I volunteer Paulo Sanchez, Paulo Angelo Sanchez? Hello, Paulo. What about Ray? Ray? Hindi ko bala maggahod para hindi ko pagtukso.
Miss?
Yes. So is that Ray?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, Ray, you would be the accounter of the first respondent.
Yes,
You're the
Miss.
accounter of Kier. And then I would have Pamela. Pamela, please. The only Pamela here.
Yes, good
Hello,
morning.
Pamela. Good morning. You would be the accounter of Kylie.
Okay, Miss.
Go. Thank you. So let's now start the ball rolling. Are you ready, Kier? Please unmute. This is Kier. Okay, this is your question. Ready, Kier? Ready, Division Director Jelay?
Can you please pin me so that they can see why
Who
can't
will
I
pin?
this?
I think the
and
speaker.
Didi Jalai already.
You pinned me already.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Kier, this is your question. You see here online classes and face-to-face classes. So this is my question. Which do you prefer? Face-to-face or online classes? By the way, you please speak in English. It's okay.
So if I will choose, I will prefer the face-to-face classes. Why?
Yes.
Because it is easy for us to access and ask question for teacher if there's something we don't understand. That's me. That's all.
Thank you, Kier. Would you not like to add more details? You still have time.
And also, teacher can easily address my problems, and I could also communicate with my classmates. So my college life or college cycle would not be boring.
Please add more until you see the green card.
Okay, sorry. And also, it can help me by my skill in how to interact with other persons by knowing different kinds of people in University of Negros Occidental.
Very nice. So, are you ending your speech? Are you ending your...
Yes, Miss.
Okay,
Maybe
thank you very much. Let's give a hand to Kier. Let's proceed to the next respondent. Ready, Kyle? Kyle, are you ready? Please unmute yourself. So
Yes,
may I repeat that if you don't see, I said you could stop even after 30 seconds, but I would like to hear more from you. Kindly maximize your time. At least stop when you see the green card. But if you want to go more until the red card is shown, then you can do it. So we can hear more from you. You may substantiate your answers. Thank you, Kyle. So let's proceed.
Okay, Miss.
This is your question. You see a mobile phone. My question is, do you plan to change the mobile phone you're using now? Why or why not?
I plan not to change my mobile phone now since I just recently bought it. It is quite new, and I guess it would last for quite long. Since I believe my phone has the durability to last longer. Also, I took care of it very much. I was able to secure it, not to get it busted, and that's all I'm gonna miss.
Is it now green?
That's all I'm miss.
Okay. Would you not like to add more? Something like, since your father is beside you, you might say, and so I am insinuating that my father.
Also miss, my mother bought it, so it's very important to me since I don't have the money yet to buy it myself. So in that way, I was able to gain a sense of what do you call this, importance, Vietnamese. I mean, I treasured it very much. That's all I miss.
That was very commendable, Kyle. So again, a round of applause to Kyle and of course, Gear. Let's move on to our thank you also very much to our division director, Jelai, for being our little servant for this exercise. Now, I would be calling in our accounters. So for the accounter, Paulo, please have your report. Or are you writing on the chat box? Or would you like to unmute yourself? Toastmaster Ether, please check if there is something on the chat box from Paulo. Or Paulo, would you like to unmute yourself? None? Hello, Paulo. Oh. Toastmaster Ether, there's nothing yet on the chat box.
We have here in the chat box the timers report actually.
Ah,
So
timers
Didi
report. Okay.
Jelai,
So Didi
yeah.
Jelai, please. Time used up, please, of Toastmaster, sorry, of of Kier is
Yes,
For-
Didi Jelai said that Care had used 1 5 seconds, while our second speaker used 1 minute and 28 seconds.
so nobody went over time. Thank you very much for managing your time. And again to our timer, Didi Jelai. We'll have our counter. Paolo, please. Do you have something? Did you count or did you find any filler word from the answer, from the mini speech or the talk, from the answer of Kier? Hello, Paolo. Are you still there? Does silence mean you heard nothing?
DTM Melinda, I think
Yeah.
Paolo misunderstood or there was a miscommunication earlier. I think Paolo answered the question instead in the chat box and he said,
Ah.
I am not going to change my phone because it's not yet damaged or broken.
Okay. Uh, no worry.
We
No.
also have here a comment from Edward. He said, I think we replaced Paolo earlier with Ray.
Ah, did we? Okay. So if we did, then can we have Ray? Ray? Thank you,
Miss.
Paolo, for your answer anyway. Thank you for your sharing your thought. Ray, did
Miss.
you count? Yes. Did you replace Paolo?
Yes, Miss.
Yes. So may I have your accounters report? Did you hear any filler word?
With care, I didn't hear any filler words, but I counted 8 long pauses. And with Kyle, I counted the filler words for 8 of total, no long pause. That's all, Miss.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you. Yes, I agree with you. I did not actually hear any filler word from Kier. So why won't we give him any reaction? A love, heart, clapping hand or anything for you to show. Yes. Congratulations, Kier, for having no filler word. But Paulo said that you had long pauses and it was not your fault because I think you did not understand my instructions, my so you want it was I who just continue and continue. That's why you had the long pauses. But given the time or given the instructions, or had you decided to continue with to develop your mini speech, I believe you will not have those long pauses. So I think that is an excellent work for Kier. Yes, and let's have Ray, you reported for, of course, we appreciate Kyle for participating. Ray, I assigned someone else to do it also for her, but Ray also counted the filler words. But let me get back to Pamela just to check also if Pamela, did you really record also
Yes,
filler
Miss.
words from Pamela? Yes, Pamela, please. How
So
many?
Kyle uses the filler words such as so, for, I, and also. So Kyle uses for 14 times, so twice times, for, I, and also for twice times, Miss.
Okay,
Is
thank
it
you.
counted, Miss? Sorry.
The arms you counted 14. Paulo, Ray counted 8. So I think you counted more, or well, if your counting is right, nobody's wrong among. That means perhaps Ray was disrupted. That's why he counted only 8. Only 8. As to the so, as long as the so is part of the meaning, there is nothing wrong with that. Like it is used to proceed or to give a cause. It is used as a subjunctive or something as a transitional word, then that there is nothing wrong with it. I'm sorry I could not validate because I was also distracted. So I think let's just focus on the am. So Kyle, from your speech, we noticed that you had a lot of So those are your filler words, Kyle. For the rest, thank you anyway, Pamela, for counting and serving as our counter. We are thankful to the 4 of you again for participating. And now I have actually having several nows. We will ask them, what caused you to use filler words? Pamela, I will have Kyle. Kyle, what do you think caused you to have those ams? This is not to put you on to embarrass you, Kyle, because as we have said, we are
Yes,
guilty.
miss.
I had more arms than you before. Yes. Why did you think, or why do you think you had those arms? Several arms.
It gives me time, miss, to recover words, miss, that
Yes.
I wanted to use to
Yes.
make it my sentence.
Yes. What else? Those are your 2 reasons. Yes.
Yes, miss.
I agree with you, Kyle. Yes. Would you like to say something else?
That's all, miss.
Okay. Again, thank you very much, Kyle. At least that makes you aware that you have a lot of filler words called ams. So getting back to it, what caused you to use filler words? For Kyla, it was not nervousness. The distraction may be because she was still looking for words or trying to compose her thoughts. Was he at a loss for what comes next? Perhaps so. But Kyla told us that she used it as time to think, because normally words would just lodge in our brains and come out on our tongue automatically. So again, let's just be conscious of filler words that we use and try to overcome them. We try to reduce them or to eliminate them totally if possible, or just reduce them so that they do not distract our listeners from getting our message. Our next question, therefore, is how to overcome filler words. How should we overcome filler words? Different authors, different Toastmasters would give you different answers for this, but let's have only those simple ones. One is record yourself. This is a time-tested or a traditional way also, but it's still proven and tested. I also did it myself before when I would listen to myself, for me to be for me to know how well did I organize my speech, how did I say, how did I have a lot of filler words. So trying to record yourself, know how often are you even using them in the first place. Or if you would not like to have it recorded, you could resort to practicing it or to delivering your talk, your mini speech to someone else, and then that someone else will be your recorder. He will or she will give you the feedback of, particularly for this case, whether you have filler words or the rest, as to the structure of your speech and all others. Second, these are not in the order of importance. As I said, many authors would give us different thoughts on this. Substitute another behavior in its place, or at least adopt tactics that reduce the frequency of filler words. So what are these tactics that we could adopt? so that our filler words would be reduced. One is embrace silence. Remember, Kyle said, someone else from the beginning told us that the cause is awkward silence. Yes, that is true to all of us. When we are asked to say something, when we don't know yet how to start it or what words we are going to use to start it, we usually fill in with words because we find silence awkward. Like, for example, you would be asked and then you would be on stage or on in front of your classmates when you're asked and you're still groping for words and you just, some would find it awkward, but I'm telling you, you know, Aryan, boot campers and the rest, being silent on stage or wherever you are when you want to say something is all right at the moment because you are still groping for words, but just don't make it too long because that would be a long pause and you might incite or your audience might begin to be uneasy because you might ask, oh, what is happening to him or her? Why is he or she speechless? So being silent for a moment is perfectly all right. When you have nothing to say and in the middle as we speak, when we have nothing to say, stay silent. Pause deliberately once in a while for multiple benefits. There are different benefits from pausing deliberately. We will have that later also. Next is slow down. But of course, not to really slow down that your audience will have to be sleepy because you are that very low. Just slow down. Don't talk too fast. Talk too fast only when it is needed. Because our tendency when we talk too fast is usually our mouth would speak faster than our what we have in mind would go slowly to our mouth, or we our tendency is to speak. I think it's the other way around. Our mouth is faster to say something than allowing our mind to think of those. So slowing down would reduce our filler words. Slow down. Think of what you have to say. Be sure of the words that you have to say. Then you would reduce your filler words. It would also make our speech clearer for our listeners. Then next is know your point. What is your purpose? So when you were asked a while ago, when you were asked, do you plan to change your mobile phone? What is the point that you are trying to drive at? It's either you will change or you will not change. And then why? Why will you not change? Why will you change your mobile phone? Which do you prefer? Online class or face-to-face class? Think, why would you go for face-to-face class? Remember, a good speech is like a pencil. It has to have a point. Always focus on your point, because if you do, then you will get something. You will get to something. You will arrive at your destination. Speakers who don't have clear points are inclined to ramble. Do you agree? Do we find yes or thumbs up on the screen? Yes. And speakers who don't have clear points will say something pointless. So that's why the audience will say, what is he or she trying to say? I don't find his speech meaningful anymore, so I better get out of here. Insert more deliberate pauses and raise your volume. When you have to accentuate, raise your volume. Now, why should we have those pauses? Why should we pause? Any answer? Why do you think we have to pause? Toastmaster Esther, do they have answers?
Okay, we have here one from Adonis. He said, for emphasis.
Yes. What else?
There are no more answers coming through. But for me, I think we should have pauses because these pauses sometimes become our strategy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Esther. I love it. Yes, pauses is for the create suspense, especially when you want to drop the main point, a very important message. Boot campers, you are indeed proactive. So that when I say you're indeed, then you are having that suspense. What will he or what will she say next? So that creates suspense. I wanted to emphasize that you are proactive, that you are cooperative, that you are participative. Pauses would slow down fast talkers. I think that is what Toastmaster Ether also means, your strategy. It demonstrates confidence. So that means you are sure of what you are going to say and you know when to say it, when to accentuate. It draws audience attention. Especially in the classroom, when you are all talking. I'm a teacher, I'm a college teacher also, just like Toastmaster me and the rest of us here. When I wanted to continue with my lesson and my students are noisy, I would just stop, look at them. And so they would also stop talking, right? So you draw their attention. It gives speakers time to communicate with precision. What would you like to emphasize? So pauses would help you. So that means, you know, Aryans, there is nothing wrong to pause. We should not talk too fast. No, really very slow. Try to learn to use pauses to our advantage. Next, let's structure our speech. By structuring our speech, we help to navigate our audience. And again, the use of filler words will be reduced. Remember, a speech, whether it's let's say it's a speech. I'm talking about a speech. Just like a bun, a speech has an introduction. Then that introduction to your main point. How, like in your case a while ago, why do you prefer a face-to-face class over the online class? You mentioned of 3 main points. When I told you, Kier, keep on, just continued with another point, and another point. Then the last is, well, in your case a while ago, I did not require you to make an introduction and have a conclusion. What I just wanted you to have is the main points just to answer the question. So structure your speech. Think, if it is a mini speech, you have an introduction, then you have the body with the supporting details, then you have the conclusion. If it is just a mere answer to a question, just think of also points like when you're asked something, what are your reasons? How many reasons will you be giving? And for an advice, it would be good to always give, if possible, 3 reasons. The power of 3 or the rule of 3 is a good rule to follow. Use transitional words. As we go along, we can make use of transitional words. So can also be used as a transitional words when you mean actually so. Moving on the other hand, let's go back. Moreover, we make use of them instead of filler words. Next, practice. Practice, practice, practice. I find this very practical personally, and I'll tell you why. But before that, let me bring you to another American, a success story of a Toastmaster. This is Ceylon Booth Grooms. She was also crowned as Mrs. New Jersey Beauty Pageant 2009 winner. She has attended many charity functions and often hosted such programs herself. She is a member of AT&T, a Toastmasters Club in Middletown, New Jersey. And she once co-hosted a cotillion for inner city girls in Plainfield, New Jersey, with 300 guests, including local dignitaries and media figures. Imagine that. Just before the event was scheduled to start, because he would often end up, they find her someone who could always host such a program, especially when the host is not around. Just before the event was scheduled to start, Booth learned that the program script had not arrived. So she had to do ad-libs. She had to ad-lib everything, introductions, interviews, for 2 hours. And what did she say? After that initial shock faded, she felt her confidence returning, and she said, I thought to myself, well, now my Toastmasters training will come in handy. I had maybe five arms in 2 hours, just 5 arms in 2 hours. No one in the audience noticed anything was wrong. So, you know, Aryan, why do you think she was able to manage it in 2 hours, doing everything, and the event was successful, and she just had 5 arms? It is because she practiced, 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 and practiced. We here also, like me personally, I did practice for 21 something years. I have been in Toastmasters for 21 years, as I told you earlier. I was also guilty of many, many filler words, and yet until I was able to manage them, try to be conscious of them and reduce those filler words to my advantage. You know, Aryan, boot campers, may it be in an ordinary situation, in an interview where you would be asking a lot of questions to an interviewer or to many interviewers, or maybe in your workplace, wherever you are, your knowledge of or your skill in controlling your verbal fillers would work to your advantage. So congratulations to those who found themselves having those no fillers. For those who have a lot, just try to reduce them, manage them well, so that your message would be more meaningful. So this is my advanced ways to say congratulations to you in your formal and informal situations. Earlier, I also noticed that some of you did answer Toastmaster May with no troublesome filler words. Let me end this talk with this strong statement from a speech specialist. Learning to control your verbal fillers make you clearer and more efficient point maker. That is a goal we should always worth aiming for as communicators, as leaders, as employees, supervisors in our future workplace, and of course, wherever we are in our community, in school, in the church. So again, congratulations to all of you for a better communication skills, especially on speaking spontaneously. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Ether.
Thank you for leading us, DTM Melinda. You have taught us some tips on how to speak spontaneously and, of course, to reframe verbal fillers and to even eliminate them. And most especially for sharing to us the secret on how to control our speaking. I too have learned a lot from you and from your time that you have shared to us your presentation, and especially enjoyed the mini impromptu speeches. So thank you so much to you, DTM Melinda, and for the participants as well. Thank you so much. After that successful workshop, we are now ready to give all our ears to you guys. More than ever, it is time to send your questions in the chat box if you have any, and we will be more than willing to entertain them or to answer them. While everyone is thinking, we have here one comment that we would like to give emphasis on. It's found in the chat box earlier. It was said, and I quote, "I was taught that fillers used in a correct timing is better than silence." What do we guys think about this?
Can we have Toastmaster Mel to give the comments on another comment?
Yes, Toastmaster Ether, were you asking a question?
Yes, DTM Melinda. Earlier in
Yes.
the chat box, someone chatted, "I was taught that fillers used in a correct timing is better than silence." What can you say, or what do you have to say about this, DTM Melinda?
Fillers used in a, a good timing. I'm looking at it. Filler. Please say it again, Toastmaster Ether. I was disturbed by my.
Sure, no
Again.
problem. Okay, I quote,
Filler.
"I was taught that fillers used in a correct timing is better than silence."
Thank you for that question. A filler is a filler. If it doesn't serve a purpose, then it is meaningless. Even if it is used in a correct timing, if it is still a filler, then for me, it is meaningless and it does not serve the purpose of making your points. But fillers like the one I told you about, I mentioned, like actually, so, when, so, like you want to, I'm saying a cause, and then I would say, my mother would used to reprimand me when I would keep on reading aloud. So I heeded her. So I took note of that. And from then on, I would not read aloud in front of her, only when I'm alone. The so, and if you keep on using so, even if that so serves the purpose, it adds to the meaning, or it is a transitional word, it adds to the meaning of your first, or the logic, then it doesn't become a filler word. But again, if you do it, if you use it successively, when it doesn't really serve a purpose, it's still a filler word and it's pointless and meaningless. I hope that I answered your question.
Thank you so much, DTM Melinda. Of course, like she said, filler words are still filler words.
Yes, silence is
Thank
still
you so
better
much.
than filler words.
Thank
Just
you so
don't make
much,
your silence
DTM.
that long.
Okay, so we have to take note of what she said, that silence is better according to DTM Melinda, but it should be used strategically, if I can use that word correctly. We should use our pauses in a certain amount of time correctly as well to have a better and more impactful speech. Thank you so much once again, DTM Melinda, and for, I believe Gerald was the one who said that comment earlier. And to everyone, please send your questions in the chat box. We will be happy to answer all of them. Okay, we have one question here from Lendl. He asked, How would you identify words if they are part of the sentence? Because sometimes, due to repetition of multiple fillers, I cannot distinguish which is a part of the sentence and which is fillers already. The thought becomes blurry. Who would like to answer this?
Am I supposed to answer again?
Yes, sure, DTM Melinda, if you have something
Okay.
to say.
So if those words, actually, I'm saying that's the same piece. If you think those words are still add to the meaning, enhance the meaning of your sentence, then it doesn't become a filler word. For example, when you're asked to say something and then you start with so, like distinguished Toastmaster Melinda, what is your thought on this? So if you ask me, and then actually, well, the actually is something, is still a part of the sentence. We say, actually, I don't find it that beneficial to me personally because of this. And actually, then if I again use the word actually when it doesn't have the same meaning with the actually that I had, then it becomes a filler word. The so becomes a filler words because even before you say something, or even you say a word which should be a part of your striking statement, you have said it. So the so therefore is a filler word. What you call, I remember also in the high school, we had a teacher who would keep on saying, what you call, class, na, what you call, to what you call. Then the what you call, we would end up, we would end up counting the what you call of our science teacher before. And we would not anymore listen to her lesson because we would just count the what you call. Okay, so I think that's clear. By the
Thank
way,
you.
let me add that in Toastmasters, by the way, the practice, we have a good practice in Toastmasters meeting because every time we speak, there is always an accounter who watches for our filler words and report them after the meeting. And so if you are the speaker, you would again be anxious, you would be aware that you said those ums for 10 times, you have repeated words for 20 times. So for your case, then you have to be conscious. You have to be worried that next time you should not say those words. So that is the one of the training that we get in Toastmasters. Back to you, Toastmaster Ether.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Melinda. And of course, for the one who answered the question, I believe it was, I'm sorry, it was Lendl. Thank you so much, Lendl, for asking that question. We hope that we have answered your question. And now we have another one raising his hand. May we call on Gerald to take on the microphone?
Sorry, I just have some clarifications regarding the fillers. So, based on my experience, as well as of that, I've Mrs. I forgot her name. Anyway, she was saying and she was emphasizing on the word personally. So does it mean that these are personal experiences regarding to what is actually wrong and right? In personal experience, due to these jobs and everything I've done the past few years,
You're choppy.
I was told that. Hello, Miss. Miss, can you
Okay,
hear me?
you came in choppy.
Oh, sorry. Is it clear now? Yeah. So regarding my question, it's just a clarification because based on my experience, I was told that
It looks like Gerald got disconnected. Maybe he had a problem with the signal or something related to that. So
hello.
he's
Sorry, I'm
back.
back. Yeah, sorry. I got disconnected. Anyway, for me, it's just a clarification whether this was a personal experience or is this actually what is right and wrong. Because based on my personal experience, I was told that on multiple occasions with different interviewers, I was told that having certain fillers is better than actual silence because silence means that you're actually leaving that part of the sentence blank or leaving that part of the question blank. So having fillers is so much better than leaving than staying silent. So this is a question to Miss Wendell, whoever it was, teacher. Sorry, I can't remember her name. Anyway, is this a personal experience or is this what is actually being taught as right and wrong?
Jerel, I said my piece, but I had one experience of someone on radio speaking over the radio. Actually, she was also a Toastmaster. I was listening to her and I said, she's a Toastmaster, but why does she have a lot of us? So I just realized that because it's a radio, there should be no dead space on radio. So I think she was using it to fill in the dead air. So that the what we would recommend is, yes, you can fill in the dead air, but better have something to say if there are cases that silence is still better than having filler words. Just don't make your silence too long because they might say you go off air.
Okay, miss. It was just a clarification because you emphasized on the word personally, so I was assuming that it was a personal experience rather than what is actually being taught.
There's nothing wrong with saying those once in a while, but that just don't abuse them.
Okay, miss, understood.
Thank you so much, Gerald, for that question or clarification, and for DTM Melinda for answering that. I believe TM Carl also has something to say regarding the clarification. So TM Carl.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, TM.
How about edible? Am I edible? All right. Well, that depends on the person. So personally, I'm starting with that phrase. I used to be the training and development in charge of an advertising company, and I would be in charge of handling job fairs, and I would be the one interviewing the participants. If the question is whether or not filler words or spaces are recommended when you have an interview, it depends on what meaning it brings to the table. For example, I have interviewed applicants who have used a lot of filler words, and those filler words are distracting. However, there are also applicants who use filler words from time to time, but their message comes out strong because the message is the most important thing. In the same way, if you have too many pauses, it could distract. But if those pauses are strategic, like you're using it for dramatic emphasis, something like that, it adds to the meaning. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, as a matter of standard, the meaning is what's most important. Your manner of delivery is just icing on the cake. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, fellow trainer Toastmaster Carl. That was a great answer. Once again, to emphasize what he said, the delivery is just an icing on the cake, but we should focus more on the meaning of what we are about to say or the entire meaning of our speech. Thank you for that, Toastmaster Carl. If there are any more questions, please do send them in the chat box. we will be waiting for them. But I guess it is time now to proceed. And so everyone, if you have more questions, please take all of them down and we will answer them in the next question and answer portion. So as we are reaching the moment when our clock strikes 11:30 or actually 12, it's actually 12 p.m. already. It is now time to breathe and enjoy our lunch break. But before leaving, please be reminded to be back before 1:30 p.m. We will be playing some games and of course prizes awaits you. And you wouldn't want to miss that. So please be there by 1:30 or before 1:30. And of course, we will also have 2 more sessions in the afternoon to successfully complete the first day of our communication bootcamp. That is 1:30 p.m. everyone. Okay. So please, we will be waiting for you. I hope you will be flooding in our notifications in this Zoom meeting, the same link by 1:30 or before 1:30. And without taking much of your time, let us now break up. Charot. I hope everyone enjoys your lunch break, everyone. Sana masarap ang ulam ninyo. Mwah, mwah.